Welcome back to Sip the Tally Films. I'm your host, Coach Evans, and today we're going to talk about the 3 reasons why the Ravens turned their defense around. And this is stemming from an article from Jamison Hensley of ESPN.com, and I'm going to go through the article and give my talking points on it, and just really I want to see how you guys feel, or do you even trust the defense as a whole, even though they've seemed to turn things around. And I know people will say, look at the schedule, look who they play, but hey, you only play who's on your schedule. When Pittsburgh was running away with the division at the beginning of the year, nobody complained about the teams they were playing. They just looked at their record being good and saying that they were the favorites in the AFC North for a short period of time. But let's look at the 3 reasons why Jamison Hensley says the Ravens have turned their defense around. And he starts off the article by saying, after what looked like a fourth quarter interception by middle linebacker Roquan Smith for the Baltimore Ravens, the defenders hurried to the end zone where they performed a choreographed celebration derived from the 2005 basketball movie Coach Carter. And that's when Roquan had all the team running sprints when they thought he had an interception, but unfortunately he didn't have an interception. And when they went back on the field, most of those guys looked gashed, especially Roquan himself. The performance ended up not really counting in the Ravens' 27-19 win at Minnesota, but because Smith had the diving interception, was ruled an incompletion, which means the celebration really didn't count because it was an incomplete pass and not an interception. He went on to say, Roquan went on to say, not Roquan, I'm sorry. Marlon went on to tell Jamison that we've been planning those celebrations, which means we're planning on making plays. I love that confidence from our defense. Because even though we, as fans, kind of see bend but don't break on the field, they're really starting to make game-changing plays, whether that be via interception, sacks, and or fumbles. They're really taking the most opportunities to try to take the ball away. But let's keep going. Let's talk about the first 5 weeks of the season. Baltimore allowed an NFL worst 35.4 points per game. The worst in a 5-game span in the history of the franchise. It's terrible. We couldn't stop the run, couldn't stop the pass. Teams do what they want. And it's really started in that second half I would say the fourth quarter versus Buffalo. That's when the snowball started. And after that, it was tough to stop. Even though we had that good second game versus Cleveland, where we beat them like 41-7 or 10 or something like that. But after that, like the blueprint was out there of what you can do to our defense. And as a result of that, the Ravens started off 1-5. Now they're 5-5. Marlon told Jamison, I think we hit our stride. It's not a surprise, but I think we're playing to our potential right now, and we have to figure out to sustain that. All right, moments after Baltimore's embarrassing 44-10 loss to Houston Texans in Week 4, Ravens coach John Harbaugh was asked if he would make any changes to the defensive coaching staff, and he adamantly said no. Said he wasn't doing nothing with Zach, wasn't making changes nowhere else. They just had to get in the lab and get to work. And I'm paraphrasing that last part about getting in the lab and get to work. And for the most part, they did that. The Lions were going through something similar, and Dan Campbell took play calling duties from his guy and started doing them himself. Dan Quinn did the same thing. And the players have backed Orr strongly. Every little media outlet we saw, every presser, when things were going bad, the players were in Zach Orr's corner. They just kept saying, we got to go out there and make the plays. We've been put in position to make plays. We got to go out there and do them. Orr, who's in his second season, and I think Orr is a good defensive coordinator. I think last year, to me, I chalked that up to whatever. And they did a good job of getting a lot better than they were at the beginning of the season. But in his rookie year, he was a rookie as well. Keep in mind, Orr's late 30s maybe as a person. So in the second year as a DC, and on a fast rise to DC as well. But the players kept backing. They kept saying it's our fault. They're putting us in position to make plays. We got to make the plays. They say stuff like Zach Orr not making a tackle or such and such not out there, missing interceptions, and they've backed Orr from the jump. It's good to see the hard work playing off, Orr said, but there's still more work to do, and we know that. We could be better versus the run. We could be better versus the pass. You can always, look for little things to get better, but losing Matabike was huge. You brought John Jenkins in as a guy that could be like a second line, the second line when you take Travis and Matabike out. And now John's forced into the starting role, playing way more snaps than I thought he was going to be here to play. But so far, in my opinion, John Jenkins is holding up. Travis Jones, in my opinion, is becoming a star. He's on his way to being a star. And those two guys keep the linebackers free for the most part. Roquan, Teddy has taken Trent Simpson's job. Teddy Buchanan, the rookie. And him and Roquan, if they can stay free, they can run around and make plays. Both of them. Especially versus the run with gap fitting and stuff like that. But let's keep going on with the article. Goes on to say the biggest thing I've probably seen from Zach and all the coaches and players has been steadiness. Harbaugh said, I haven't seen a lot of changes. I've seen steady commitment, consistency, and an approach to hard work. But the boldest move, and what I think the main reason was, trading for Aloha Gilman. Raven made, when they traded for Aloha for Odafe Owe, it was October 7th. After that week, they were allowed to put Kyle back in the box, or closer to the box, close to the line of scrimmage, and Kyle has been able to do a bunch of different things he's not able to do from a deep safety standpoint. You put Kyle like over a slot receiver, he can blitz off that edge, he can cover that slot receiver or man to man, or he can drop in the zone. Well, you condense the formation and have Kyle over the slot. Now he gets more dangerous because now he's closer to your quarterback and he can do all those things plus some. Now when we go dime, if I'm not mistaken, Kyle is basically playing the second linebacker with run fits, blitz responsibility, coverage responsibility, man-to-man coverage. Kyle is doing everything at a high level. And what made that happen is Aloha coming down, being a strong veteran voice and presence back there with the rookie Malachi Starks, which in turn, and I didn't even mention him, Starks is playing better since Gilman has gotten in. So Gilman kind of comes in and looks like the de facto glue guy. The system is not very different. The Mike Mentors slash Mike McDonald slash Zach Orr slash other people's systems, they ain't far from apart. Maybe some verbiage change here and there, but Aloha has been able to come in. I ain't gonna say take control of the secondary, but mix in and be a good part of it. Be a really good part of it. And the last dude I want to talk about, no, I don't even think they mentioned this dude. Let's see, do they even mention him? No, they don't mention this guy. But I personally think, especially these last 2 weeks, Chido Awuzie has been lights out. Lights out. The play this week where Shador threw the ball to, I think, number 83 or maybe number 84, and he had a good hand on it. Chidobe was in a position that most DBs panic in. His back was turned to the ball. Even though he peeked, his back was turned to the ball, and the receiver had his hands on it. But he didn't panic and get grabby or anything. What he did was he found the ball and made sure he raked it out so it was an incompletion without making contact on the receiver. And that was one of the best plays I've seen in a while, simply because most times when DBs are in that situation, they contact the receiver. Or the receiver has enough wherewithal to jump back through the DB to cause a PI. And Awuzie didn't let any one of those things happen. No PI, no catch, saved the game for the Baltimore Ravens. So I just wanted to talk about the three things that Jamison said, helped turn the defense around. Let me know what you think in the comment section. What was the main factor for the turnaround so far in the defense? I appreciate y'all for coming out. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with me. Like the video, subscribe if you've not done so, and hit that bell so you can be notified when the rest of this content drops. Don't forget to become a member. You can do that here on the YouTube channel, or you become a Patreon at patreon.com/SipToTally. Peace and love, y'all.